Hi guys, it's Carlo from Over the Beaver Dam, and today I'm going to talk to you about the stove maintenance of the MSR Whisperlite International. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take it all apart, and then I'm going to get in there and clean up all that soot, all the black soot. I don't know if you can see, but it's completely black from burning it over the last portage. So here I have it's my maintenance kit, right, that I carry with me all the time. This has spare parts, spare nozzles, keep a lighter. I got oil. This is for like the O-rings that are inside the pump, which I'll show you in a sec, and all the tools to take it apart. So I'm gonna take all these guys out that I'm gonna use right away, and I'll set this aside. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna unscrew the priming cup from the stove, and it's this part down here. So this is where the fuel collects when you prime the stove, which is when you initially pump the fuel bottle and let some fluid come through before turning into a gas. At the very beginning it's going to be a liquid, right? So it'll come through the jet as a liquid, pool into the priming cup, and this is where you'll spark it, set this thing ablaze, wait a couple minutes, and then it becomes a jet engine. So here I go. I'm going to take this apart first. So there's the priming cup, and here's the wick that sits inside. Now that that's off, the fuel line with the jet nozzle and shaker needle come right out. Now, using the tool that's included in the kit, I'm going to come and unscrew the jet nozzle off. So there you go, it's gonna come off. Set that aside here. Then inside, let's see if you can see that. This is the shaker needle, and this is what, if you know the stove's not performing quite right, it might be a clog, maybe some soot buildup. So this shaker, all you do is you just shake the thing when the nozzle's on, of course, and this little needle will pierce the little hole on the top there and clear any debris or blockage. So I'll take that out. You can see it's tiny. This tiny little thing in here. So I'll set that down. So now that that's all out, I'm gonna go ahead and rub all the soot off. So pretty much all I do is get some paper towel, which I got right here. Get a bit of it. I'm just gonna get in there and just rub it all off, and it comes off fairly easy. It's really not difficult. So I'm gonna do that. And also another step that I'm going to take too, because I've noticed there's some debris and stuff just around the edge of the burning plates. So with an Allen key, I'm just going to get this guy loose. And I'm going to take all the burning plates off, and I'm going to ensure that I keep them in this order so everything's proper. So you can see actually there's a bit of rust building up there because we were using the stove in the rain, so it was wet quite often. So you could see the ring of rust there. So I'm just going to go at it with some steel wool and clean that up. So, you know, it's also a good thing too, so you could actually get to the base of this and clean it really good. So just gonna get in there, clean this guy up. So there you go, you got all that rust out. So now I'm gonna check out these plates here. So first plate here, you can see quite a bit of rust on it, so I'm just gonna go ahead. Next ring. Okay, so the rest are actually looking really good. So it was just the 3 plates at the bottom that collected some rust. So put that back together like this, and I'll put that on in a sec. So now I'm going to continue cleaning the stove. So this guy's good. All the soot's off. She's looking good. Now I'm going to come to the legs and just get all this grime off. Now, the important thing here is, if you do this, you try to do this minimum, every other portage or trip or whatever, you'll really prevent this stove from getting grimy and breaking down on you, because it does add up. So I try to do this every single time, and I'm pretty committed to that. Just, I like keeping this thing in tip-top shape. Because, you do rely on the stove quite a bit when you're out there. So, we've had it countless times actually where, a stove breaks down or something and we've been stranded. So that's why I think this is a pretty important piece of gear to have. And really the only time the stove has failed, and I'll show you guys when I'm doing the pump, and it's probably the only thing I would, like say to MSR to fix, or or just ask why it's done like that. Maybe it's something I did wrong, but I'll show you guys in a second. Essentially it's just plastic threading on the pump itself that wore away, actually broke off, and we were stranded without a stove. But other than that, this thing's been going strong for 6 years now. Alright, so the stove legs and everything's looking good, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to set this aside over here. This guy's good too, set him over here. Now I'm going to work on the stove pump fuel line. Alright, so she's good. Now I'll just do a bit of the priming cup. Okay, so that was done. So now the next thing I'll do is, using the tool, I'm gonna go in with this hole here and then turn back, and it's gonna put pressure and allow me to grip the cable and pull it out. So let's try for it. So there it comes. So you can see it's actually not too dirty. This is more of just discoloration from heat, this black stuff. But so I'm just gonna feed it in a couple times. I kind of go in like stages. Feed it in a bit, scrape, feed it in a bit, scrape, and so on. So you usually feel some resistance when you're coming around the bend here. So just gonna feed it. Alright, so she's in there. Gonna just clean up the shaker needle. The shaker nozzle and needle, which looks okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put it all back together. So I like to start it by hand just so you don't, forcefully get it in there and then ruin the threads. And then just like to get it tight, but nothing insane. Kind of make sure they all line up, all the way around, and then just give it a little tightening, and she's back on. The next thing I'm gonna do is just have this container here. So I'm just gonna open it up. I'm going to put this guy in here and then pump some fluid just to wash out the line. So I'm gonna put the pump in. Say about a quarter turn, always does the job. And then give it a few pumps. Okay. And then I'll hook her up. No, I won't hook her up. Now I'll hook her up. So this goes on the right side. Snaps in. Okay. And now all I'm gonna do is turn the pressure on. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm just letting a couple ounces flow through, fill this up, just to flush the line. She's looking good, so close her off, shake the rest out. I'll go ahead, disconnect the line, drain any fuel that was inside, just back out. And I'll leave this over there, and then I'll put that in a bottle to recycle. Okay, so now I'll put the shaker needle back, just like that, plop it in. And then the nozzle, bring it in with your hand. And then just a little snugging, that's it. That's it. Okay, so now put it back on the stove. What you're gonna do is, you wanna make sure that this groove, this leg, and this groove, and this hook all line up. So now what this does is slide it in through the top. And now put the wick back and the priming cup. And then that's it. This stove is good to go onto the next camping trip. Okay, so the next thing here, is to maintenance the stove pump and also the fuel bottle. So I'll start with the fuel bottle just so I can get it out of the way. So there's an O-ring that goes around, so all I like to do is get some oil and just get it in there, and just helps make sure the rubber doesn't get brittle over time. So So with that being said, I'll put it on here, and then I will squeeze it. Just give it a couple presses, and it squeezes the oil around the O-ring, and she's done. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do for the pump is unscrew the regulator here. So it has the big set there. So just a matter of popping that off and then unscrewing this completely. And it comes out just like that. So special thing to note, you see those plastic threads right here? Now I had another one and I over tightened this and it broke that right off. So it's very important, as I learned, to gently put this on, and when you screw this cover over, just by hand and maybe just a little, and tighten it. You want no pressure to be put on these threads at all, or else that'll happen. That happened out in the bush, but what are you gonna do? We just put the pot and pans on the fire, and that was that. So now that that's off, I'm just gonna give it a clean in here, a bit of debris. And on here you'll see there's a rubber O-ring right here. So I'm just gonna give it a clean and then apply some oil. And I'll rub it in. And then she's good to go. So I'll put her back. So just like that. By hand you want to do it. And then you just give it a little tighten, and that's it. So that's out of the way. Alright, so next I'm going to take the pump apparatus out. So it has instructions here. One goes down about halfway, then turn, and then pull. So first I'll get the pressure out, make it easier. Just a bit loose. And essentially you just want to twist, and you'll notice there's a little thing holding it that pops out there, so, and that's it. Comes right out. So now you have the rubber sealant ring over here. So look down there, sight it, looks okay. So what I do is drop some oil on that, drop some oil all around it, and then just work it in and put her back. So she's good to go. So to put her back the way you found it, that's it. But first, now that it's off, you can access this guy here. So you just go in, that's actually a bit ridiculous, but there's a little slot there, so you just slot this in and turn, and that comes out, and inside there is a little O-ring sealant, and that's what seals where you plug the fuel line into there. That's what makes the seal. So what I'm going to suggest is get that one out too and give it a clean. So I just have here something I can use just to scoop it out. You see, I don't know if you can see that red stuff, so I'll just clean it up with my hands. Then I'll drop some oil, rub it in, and then I'll place it back in there. Just like that. Then I'll put this back. And that's it. For that, and now another thing is just some oil around the actual rubber cap that seals to the bottle. And all I do is drop some in there, rub it around with my finger, and that's good to go there. So now the pump could go back in, snaps right in, and the final thing here, with the end of this, there's a little thing. You can see it's kind of a turn-based thing. So you turn it, pops out. There's a little ball there. Check inside. Looks okay, nothing's inside. So I'm just gonna go and screw that back. So now that's done, just gonna give it a clean quickly, which it's a bit grimy. So just gonna rub it down, get all the dirt off her. And that's it. So there you have it. That's what I do to maintain my Whisperlite International stove. I hope you guys learned something here, and hopefully you guys do it too, and you know, are as proud of this stove as I am, because it's an amazing stove. As long as you take care of her, she'll take care of you. So cheers, guys.
What do you got cooking up, Carlo?
Alright guys, so in the cast iron pan on top of the Whisperlite International, we got some lamb chops, I guess, cooking here, fermenting in this butter oil mix with rosemary from the garden and garlic from the garden.